Hey!
Hey!
Do you know what I think today?
What do you think today, Adam?
I think that not having money is not a good reason to not do something. Did I have enough negatives in there?
That was a lot of nots.
Not having money is not a good reason to not get started in something.
Yeah.
I think I just said that.
Well, that makes sense, though. Yeah, not having money is not a good reason to not start something.
Right. Like, I think whether or not you have money, you should get started on an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how would people do that if you don't have money?
Well, it's very simple.
Okay.
I'm glad you asked. There is, an ever-growing population of people who are using crowdfunding.
Crowdfunding.
To raise money for their project or their idea or their product. In fact, some of you out there who are into the financial literacy space, financial education, business, entrepreneurship, etc., may listen to Smart Passive Income by Pat Flynn. It's a really popular podcast. And Pat just used crowdfunding to raise money for something called the Switch Pod, which is a really clever metal tripod for podcasters. And so he had this idea, they rough drafted it, they put it out on, I think it was Kickstarter or IndieGoGo, one of the two. But within 60 days, they had raised like $430,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What does this thing do?
It basically, you hold it out in front of you, and it's almost like a handheld tripod. And then with one flick of the wrist, all three legs pop out, and you can just set the thing down, and away you go.
With a flick of the wrist.
A flick of the wrist.
With a flick of the wrist.
You ever seen? I should have done the commercial. With a flick of the wrist. Have you ever seen the Gorilla Pod that has all the legs that are bendable and stuff like that?
Yes.
So that was kind of what they used as a model, if you will, and then said, we can definitely improve upon this, and that's what they came up with.
So monkey see, monkey do.
Monkey see, monkey do.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's way cooler looking.
Oh, okay.
Way cooler looking.
There you go.
So at any rate, crowdfunding is a means of raising money for a project or a product or an idea. And in by and large, in most cases, you don't have to pay that money back to the people who are funding your idea.
Gotcha.
Hence, crowdfund.
Crowdfund.
Yes.
It's not self-fund, it's crowdfund.
It's crowdfunding, not self-funding.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Didn't you do something with crowdfunding?
I did.
What did you do?
I did. So in 2014, I had the idea with a friend of mine that we were going to do a documentary on student loan debt. And initially the idea, Nick, was that we were going to self-fund, that I was going to actually write checks for all I write checks. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I was actually going to pay for the creation of this documentary. And then we started really tabulating how much that was going to cost and realized that was probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
So we decided to put it out on IndieGoGo, and we raised $67,000 in 45 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay.
It was good.
And you didn't have to, so people were contributing because there's the project or the documentary that you were creating, people really believed in it and wanted to see this come to fruition. Right?
Correct.
So crowdfunding in general, and then if you can answer specifically with your experience with crowdfunding, what did people get in return?
Well, in most of the crowdfunding campaigns, there is some reward or some, call it compensation, if you will, what they're getting. So in our case, they got, there were t-shirts, there were posters, there were, private screenings, those kinds of things. So they were getting those kinds of tangibles, but there wasn't anything concrete. Like with Pat Flynn's, his crowdfund, you would actually get one of the switch pods or two of the switch pods. I've done crowdfunding campaigns before with things like wallets or with, I'm trying to remember what I bought, a video camera at one point. I got the Aura Ring, this health tracker that I wear on my finger. That was a Kickstarter campaign. So some of these, it's like a proof of concept of an idea. You fund it, and then you get whatever that thing is. So it's a great way to prove that there actually is a market for whatever it is you're coming up
awesome.
with. Yeah.
Yeah, from a business entrepreneur standpoint, that's a great. It's easily testable for if it's a viable product or service that people are interested in.
Totally.
Yeah. So like you said in the beginning, there is no reason why someone should not start something.
No reason not to.
No reason not to.
Yes. No reason not to.
Yeah.
Now, there are some things about crowdfunding that are probably important to know. So there is, more of a donation-based crowdfund, which could be coming up with doing a documentary or a music album. You might be donating to that cause to make sure that it happens. There are things that are more rewards based. So I mentioned that you would get, a poster or something like that. I have a guitar hanging on my wall here from a musician friend of mine who did a crowdfund for an album that he was putting together. Well, one of the rewards was if you contributed X amount, you would get a signed guitar.
That's awesome.
So hence the guitar hanging on my wall.
That is signed.
That is signed. Shout out to my man Tim Rose. Follow him. So there's donation-based, rewards-based, and then there is an equity-based crowdfund where when you put money in, you're actually getting equity in the company.
So you're like a mini VC, venture
Yes,
capitalist.
essentially.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So there really is no reason to not start.
There's no reason.
Yeah. One thing that I want to talk about is we recently went to a documentary world premiere of a documentary, and they actually used crowdfunding to put this on. And one of the things that I saw was interesting was it was a fixed campaign or an all or nothing campaign, meaning that if they did not raise the amount of money they were looking to raise in this specific time, they would give all the contributors or donators back their money.
Right.
Yeah, and so I thought that was really interesting because there's a level in which you there's a level of intensity and commitment you play when you know that like it's all or nothing.
Totally.
And just the power also of having a crowd social media community be like, hey, it's not just me who wants to see this, it's all of us who want to see it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and in the midst of our crowdfunding campaign, which hopefully this is helpful for those of you listening and watching, we started the IndieGoGo campaign and about 4 or 5 days in realized we had no idea what we were doing. We had not put a team together. We had not done social media campaigning on it. And so we quickly gathered a team. We asked for some input from people who had done successful campaigns. And for the next, again, I mentioned it was a 45-day campaign, but we were also fixed. So our goal was to raise $65,000 in 45 days. And people were asking me constantly, well, what happens if you don't hit it? And because we were all or nothing, my mentality was, there is no way we're not going to hit this. We will absolutely do everything we can to hit it.
Yeah.
And we reached out to our network. We did a Facebook ad campaign. We sent emails. We made phone calls. We were on TV. We were interviewed in newspapers. We did everything we could to get the funds we needed to make it happen.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So off the top of your head, what are so for our explorers who are watching and listening, what are some ways that they can use crowdfunding? Like, are there innovative ways that people are using crowdfunding outside of, putting a product or service out?
The most innovative one that I saw was by a friend of mine who wanted to help his son publish a book. And his son was, I want to say he was 8 or 9 years old. He had bought a gumball machine to make passive income, essentially the kid did. And they said, oh, it'd be cool if we wrote a book about this and told kids his story. So he literally wrote the story and then drew pictures for the book.
Oh, that's awesome.
They ended up putting the book together through CreateSpace on Amazon, but they needed about $5,000 in order to get everything done. So they ran a crowdfunding campaign to raise the money to do the book. And in the end, they raised, I think, close to $6,000.
Yep.
And did a first run of the book, and proceeded to give those out to libraries and those kinds of things. But it was a very creative, innovative way of showing a young person how to use something like that. But whether you're an artist, or you're a musician, or you're a filmmaker, or you are, a product creator, there literally are campaigns out there that you could model that would help you get closer to funding like that. Yeah. So it just, sky's the limit.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No reason not to. So our challenge to you is, and also by the way, if you're looking to run a crowdfunding campaign, there's so many different projects, products, services that are actually out there on IndieGoGo.com or Kickstarter.com.
Yeah.
So you can not only use that as a template, but also, to really be inspired.
Totally.
You talked about the Aura Ring that you wear all the time, and that was a Kickstarter.
It was Kickstarter.
Yeah, Kickstarter. So a lot of cool things really get created from these platforms. So if you have an idea or you want to check it out, our challenge to you is to look at IndieGoGo.com or Kickstarter.com. you could potentially be an equity owner or receive a reward or, really be a part of a movement that may not be possible without you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something cool about saying, "Oh, I sponsored that.
Yeah.
I gave $100 to that documentary." You know what I mean? So, do go check out IndieGoGo, check out Kickstarter, and share this with friends who have an idea but don't have the money, because there's no reason not to.
No reason not to.
No reason.
Yeah.
We will see you next time. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and if you have questions, shoot us questions at masterymoney.com. See you next time.
See ya.